What if the coins sitting quietly in your pocket right now are actually worth more than you think? Most people ignore dimes. They're small, common, and easy to overlook. But hidden among everyday pocket change are coins with fascinating history, surprising details, and in some cases, unexpected value. Today, we're diving deep into 6 specific dimes: 1973, 1989, 2000, 2016, 2022, and 2023, and breaking down what makes each one unique, what collectors look for, and whether you might be holding something special. Before you spend your next dime, you might want to watch this.
The 1973 Roosevelt dime might be one of the most overlooked coins in American pocket change. But what if I told you that this tiny silver-colored coin could hold more than just 10 cents in value? At first glance, it looks completely ordinary. You've probably seen hundreds of coins just like it. Small, lightweight, easy to ignore. But hidden within that simple design is a story that connects to one of the biggest transformations in U.S. coin history. To understand the true significance of the 1973 dime, we need to go back just a few years earlier. In 1965, the United States made a dramatic decision. It removed silver from everyday coins. Rising silver prices made it too expensive to continue producing coins with precious metal. So instead, coins like the dime were redesigned using a copper-nickel-clad composition. That means your 1973 dime contains 0 silver. Now, that might sound disappointing at first. No silver usually means no high intrinsic value, but here, where things start to get interesting. Even without silver, coins can still be valuable, sometimes extremely valuable depending on a few key factors: rarity, condition, mint origin, and most importantly, errors. Let's break it down. The 1973 dime was minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint leaves a small clue on the coin known as a mint mark. If your coin has no mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia. If you see a small D, it came from Denver. And if you see an S, it was produced in San Francisco, and that's where things start to get exciting. San Francisco didn't just produce regular coins, it also produced proof coins, special versions made specifically for collectors. These coins are struck using polished dies and specially prepared blanks, resulting in a mirror-like surface and incredibly sharp details. So here's a question you need to ask yourself. Does your 1973 dime look different from the others? Does it shine more? Does it reflect light almost like a mirror? If the answer is yes, you might be holding a proof coin, and that instantly makes it more valuable than a standard circulation coin. But we're not done yet. Because the real hidden value often comes from something unexpected: mistakes. Yes, mistakes. During the minting process, coins are struck at incredibly high speeds, and sometimes things go wrong. When they do, they create what collectors call error coins. These errors can take many forms. One of the most famous is the double die error, where the design appears slightly duplicated. You might notice doubling in the letters, numbers, or even the portrait itself. Another type is an off-center strike, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting. This results in part of the design being cut off, a clear and obvious mistake. There are also die cracks, clipped planchets, and other unusual variations that can make a coin stand out. And here's the important part. Collectors love errors. Why? Because they are rare, and rarity drives value. A normal 1973 dime might be worth just 10 cents, but an error coin, that could be worth dollars, sometimes even much more depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where many people miss out on value. Take a close look at your coin. Is it worn out? Are the details faded? Are there scratches all over the surface? If so, it's likely been in circulation for many years, and its value will usually stay close to face value. But if your coin looks almost brand new, that's a different story. Coins that have never been used in circulation are called uncirculated coins. They retain their original luster, sharp details, and clean surfaces. These are the coins collectors are always searching for. And if a coin is in exceptionally high condition, it can be graded by professional services, sometimes reaching values far above what you'd expect. So now the big question. Is your 1973 dime just another coin, or is it something more? The truth is, most 1973 dimes are common. There's no point pretending otherwise. But every once in a while, someone finds something unusual, a proof coin, a high-grade example, or a rare error, and suddenly that ordinary coin becomes something worth talking about. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. It's not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about looking at something small and realizing there might be more to it than meets the eye. So before you toss that 1973 dime aside, take a moment. Look closer. Because hidden in your pocket change could be a small piece of history waiting to be found. The 1989 Roosevelt dime is one of those coins that almost everyone has seen, but almost no one really looks at. It's small. It's common. It's easy to ignore. But what if that tiny coin you've been overlooking all this time actually has more to offer than just 10 cents? Because when it comes to coins like the Roosevelt dime, the real story isn't always obvious at first glance. Let's go deeper. By 1989, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for over 40 years. First introduced in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, this coin had become a permanent part of American currency, but something important had changed decades earlier. Like the 1973 dime, the 1989 version contains no silver. It's made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, a layered structure designed to keep production costs low while maintaining durability. So if there's no silver, where does the value come from? That's where things get interesting. The 1989 dime was produced in massive numbers at two main mints, Philadelphia and Denver. Here, how you tell the difference: if your coin has no mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. If you see a small D, it came from Denver. Simple, right? But here's the twist. Even though millions of these coins were produced, not all of them are the same, at least not in the eyes of collectors. Because collectors aren't just looking for coins, they're looking for differences. Let's start with condition. Take a close look at your 1989 dime. Does it look dull and worn out? Are the edges smooth instead of sharp? Is the design starting to fade? If yes, then it's been heavily circulated, passed through countless hands over the years. Coins like this usually stay at face value. But now imagine something different. Imagine finding a 1989 dime that looks almost untouched. The surface still shines, the details are crisp, Roosevelt's profile is sharp and clear with no visible wear. That's what collectors call an uncirculated coin. And suddenly that ordinary dime isn't so ordinary anymore. Uncirculated coins are far more desirable because they've survived decades without losing their original quality. These coins can sell for more than face value, sometimes significantly more if they are in top condition. But condition is just the beginning, because the real excitement comes from something far less predictable: errors. Yes, mistakes made during the minting process. Now think about this for a second. Coins are produced at extremely high speeds using powerful machines. Everything is designed to be precise, consistent, and identical, but machines aren't perfect. And when something goes wrong, it creates a coin that's completely unique. That's what collectors chase. One of the most fascinating errors is the double die. This happens when the coin design is stamped more than once, slightly misaligned. The result, a subtle doubling effect that can appear on letters, numbers, or even Roosevelt's face. It's not always easy to spot, you have to look closely. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Another possibility is a misaligned strike. This is when the coin isn't perfectly positioned during minting. Part of the design might be shifted, cut off, or unevenly placed. It's a clear mistake, and that's exactly why it's valuable. There are also other types of errors. Die cracks running across the surface, clipped edges where part of the coin is missing, weak strikes where details didn't fully form. Each one tells a story of a moment when the minting process didn't go as planned. And in the world of coin collecting, those moments are priceless. Now here's something most people don't realize. Even though error coins are rare, they're not impossible to find. In fact, some of them are still out there, hidden in circulation, sitting in jars, or mixed in with everyday change. That means there's always a chance. A small chance, but a real one, and that's what keeps collectors searching. So let's bring it back to you. That 1989 dime in your hand, what is it really? Is it just another coin worn down by years of use, or is it something more? Maybe it's an uncirculated piece that somehow escaped heavy use. Maybe it has a subtle error that most people would never notice. Or maybe, just maybe, it's a coin that's been underestimated for decades. The truth is, most 1989 dimes are common. There's no hype, no mystery, no hidden fortune in most cases, but every now and then someone finds something different, and that's enough reason to look. Because coin collecting isn't just about value, it's about curiosity. It's about taking something small and asking a simple question: what if there's more to this than I think? So before you toss that 1989 dime aside, pause for a moment, look closely, because sometimes the most ordinary coins hide the most interesting stories. The year 2000 wasn't just another year. It was the start of a brand new millennium, a moment filled with excitement, uncertainty, and change. People all over the world were watching the clock, wondering what the future would bring. And quietly, in the middle of all that global anticipation, millions of dimes were being minted. Among them was the 2000 Roosevelt dime, a coin so common, so ordinary that most people never gave it a second thought. But here's the question. What if that coin isn't as ordinary as it seems? Because sometimes the most modern coins hide the most unexpected surprises. Let's take a closer look. From the year 2000 continues a design that had already been in use for over 5 decades. On the front, you see the familiar profile of a symbol of resilience and leadership. By the year 2000, minting technology had reached a level of precision that earlier generations could only imagine. Machines were faster, strikes were cleaner, and consistency was higher than ever. So logically, there shouldn't be mistakes, right? Wrong. Because no matter how advanced technology becomes, perfection is never guaranteed. And that's exactly where the opportunity lies. The 2000 dime was minted in 2 primary locations, Philadelphia and Denver. Again, the difference is subtle. No mint mark, Philadelphia. A small d, Denver. Simple. But collectors don't stop at simple. They go deeper. Because even among millions of nearly identical coins, there are always a few that stand out. Let's talk about condition first, because with modern coins like the 2000 dime, this becomes even more important. Most of these coins went straight into circulation. They were used in stores, dropped into vending machines, carried in pockets, and slowly worn down over time. These coins show signs of life. Scratches, faded details, dull surfaces. And in that condition, they usually stay at face value. But every now and then, something different appears. A coin that looks like it just left the mint. Bright, shiny, perfectly detailed. No scratches, no wear. This is what collectors call a brilliant, uncirculated coin. And even though the coin itself is common, its condition is not. Coins like this are often pulled from mint rolls or saved before they ever enter circulation. And because of their pristine state, they can carry a premium in the collector market. But condition alone is what makes collectors truly excited. It's the unexpected, the rare, the mistakes that weren't supposed to happen. Let's talk about errors. Even in the year 2000, with all the advancements in minting technology, error coins still slipped through. And when they did, they created opportunities. One of the most fascinating possibilities is the off-center strike. Imagine a coin being stamped slightly off position. The design doesn't land perfectly in the middle. Instead, part of it is shifted, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on one side. It's a mistake. A clear, visible, undeniable mistake. And collectors love it. Another possibility is a double die error. This is more subtle. The coin design is struck more than once, slightly misaligned. The result is a faint doubling effect, often seen in the lettering or numbers. You might need magnification to spot it. But once you do, you realize you're looking at something special. There are also die cracks, where thin lines appear across the surface of the coin due to damage in the minting die. Or weak strikes where certain details didn't fully form due to insufficient pressure. Each of these errors tells a story. A moment when the system wasn't perfect. A split second where something went wrong. And that's what makes it valuable. Because in a world of mass production, uniqueness stands out. Now here's something important. Most 2000 dimes are still only worth 10 cents. Let's be real about that. There's no magic trick here. No guaranteed jackpot. But every collector knows this truth. You don't need every coin to be valuable. You just need one that's different. One coin with an unusual feature. One coin in exceptional condition. One coin that breaks the pattern. And suddenly everything changes. That's the thrill. That's the reason people search through rolls of coins, jars of change, and forgotten collections. Because the next coin you pick up might not be ordinary. So let's bring it back to you. That 2000 dime in your possession, what does it look like? Is it worn and faded? Or is it bright and sharp? Does anything about it feel unusual? Anything at all? Because sometimes the difference between an ordinary coin and a collectible one comes down to the smallest detail. A slight shift. A tiny doubling. A surface that shines just a little bit more than the rest. So before you ignore it, take a closer look. Because the year 2000 marked the beginning of a new era. And maybe, just maybe, your coin is carrying a small piece of that moment in a way most people would never notice. The 2016 Roosevelt dime is the kind of coin most people wouldn't even think twice about. It's modern. It's everywhere. And because of that, it's often ignored. But here's something most people don't realize. Sometimes the newest coins are the ones with the most hidden potential. Because while older coins carry history, modern coins carry opportunity. Let's take a closer look at the 2016 version of the Roosevelt dime, a coin that may look ordinary on the surface but still has secrets waiting to be discovered. By 2016, coin production in the United States had reached an incredible level of precision. Every detail, from the texture of the metal to the sharpness of the design, was controlled with advanced technology. On the front of the coin, you'll see the familiar face of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a design that has remained largely unchanged for decades. It's consistent, recognizable, reliable. And that's exactly why most people overlook it. Because when something looks the same every day, you stop paying attention. But collectors, they never stop looking. Because they know something important. Even in a system designed for perfection, mistakes still happen. And when they do, they create something rare. Let's start with the basics. The 2016 dime was minted in two main locations, Philadelphia and Denver. Again, the difference is small. No mint mark, Philadelphia. A tiny D, Denver. At first, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But for collectors, even the smallest detail matters. Now let's talk about condition, because with a relatively recent coin like the 2016 dime, this becomes even more interesting. Unlike older coins that have been circulating for decades, many 2016 dimes are still in decent shape. But decent isn't enough for collectors. They're looking for perfection. Coins that are completely untouched. No scratches. No wear. No dullness. Just a clean, sharp, brilliant surface, exactly as it left the mint. These are known as mint state or uncirculated coins. And here's the key point. Even though millions of 2016 dimes were produced, not many remain in perfect condition. Because the moment a coin enters circulation, it starts to change. It gets handled, dropped, scratched, worn down. So finding one that still looks brand new. That's where the value begins. But again, condition is only part of the story. Because the real excitement comes from something far less predictable. Errors. Now you might be thinking, with modern technology, how can there still be errors? It's a fair question. But the truth is, no system is perfect. And in high-speed production, even the smallest issue can create a noticeable difference. Let's explore a few possibilities. One of the most eye-catching errors is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during minting. The design ends up shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. It's obvious. It's unusual. And it immediately stands out. Then there's the double die effect, a subtle but fascinating error where elements of the design appear slightly duplicated. You might notice it in the lettering, in the date, or even in Roosevelt's profile. It's not always easy to spot, but that's part of the thrill. Collectors love the challenge. There are also die cracks, where thin lines appear across the coin due to stress or damage in the minting die. Or weak strikes where certain details didn't fully form. Each one tells a story. A moment when something didn't go exactly as planned. And in the world of collecting, those moments matter. Because they create uniqueness. And uniqueness creates value. Now let's be honest. Most 2016 dimes are still worth just 10 cents. That's the reality. But here's the bigger picture. Every coin starts out common. Every coin begins its life as just another piece of currency. But over time things change. Coins get lost, damaged, destroyed. And slowly, the number of high-quality examples begins to shrink. That's when collectors start paying attention. That's when a once common coin can become harder to find in perfect condition. And that's when value begins to grow. So here's the question you should be asking yourself. What condition is your 2016 dime in? Is it worn down from years of use? Or does it still have that fresh, untouched look? Does anything about it seem unusual? Any small detail that doesn't quite match the rest? Because sometimes it only takes one small difference to turn an ordinary coin into something collectible. And that's what makes this so exciting. It's not just about old coins. It's not just about silver or rare dates. It's about paying attention. It's about looking at something everyone else ignores and seeing what they don't. So the next time you come across a 2016 dime, don't just spend it without thinking. Pause for a second. Turn it over. Look closely. Because hidden in that small piece of metal could be something more than just 10 cents. It could be a coin that most people would never notice. But you did. The 2022 Roosevelt dime is one of the newest coins you'll find in circulation today. It's fresh. It's clean. And because of that, most people assume it's completely ordinary. But here's something interesting. The newest coins are often the least appreciated and sometimes the most underestimated. Because while older coins have already been studied, searched, and picked apart by collectors for decades, newer coins are still full of possibilities. Let's take a deeper look at the 2022 version of the Roosevelt dime, a coin that may seem too modern to matter but might still surprise you. At first glance, everything looks familiar. On the front, you'll see the same iconic portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Clean lines. Sharp details. A design that hasn't changed much in decades. And that's exactly why people ignore it. Because when something looks the same as always, it doesn't feel special. But collectors don't think that way. They know something most people don't. New coins are where the search begins, not where it ends. Let's start with condition, because this is where the 2022 dime becomes interesting. Unlike older coins that have been in circulation for years, many 2022 dimes are still in excellent shape. Some look almost perfect. Bright surfaces, crisp edges, strong detailed design. These coins haven't had time to wear down yet. And that creates a unique opportunity. Because collectors are always looking for the best possible examples of any coin. Not just any 2022 dime, but the perfect 2022 dime. Coins that are completely free of scratches. Coins that still have their original mint luster. Coins that look exactly the way they did the moment they were created. These are known as high-grade coins. And even though millions were produced, very few remain in flawless condition. Why? Because the moment a coin enters circulation, its condition starts to decline. It gets handled, dropped, scratched, and over time, it loses that original shine. So finding a 2022 dime that still looks perfect. That's where collectors start paying attention. But again, condition is just one part of the story. Because even with modern minting technology, something unexpected can still happen. Errors. Yes, even in 2022. Coins are produced at incredible speeds, and despite advanced systems, small mistakes can still slip through. And those mistakes, they create value. Imagine finding a 2022 dime where the design isn't perfectly centered. An off-center strike. Part of the coin looks normal, but another part is blank. It's unusual. It's rare. And it immediately stands out. Or imagine a coin where the details appear slightly doubled, a double die error. It's subtle, easy to miss. But once spotted, it transforms the coin into something completely different. Then there are die cracks, thin lines running across the coin's surface. Or weak strikes where certain features didn't fully form. Each one is a reminder of something important. Even in a world of precision, perfection isn't guaranteed. And that's exactly what makes collecting modern coins so exciting. Because the search is still open. The discoveries are still being made. Nothing is fully explored yet. Now let's be realistic for a moment. Most 2022 dimes are still worth just 10 cents. There's no instant fortune waiting in every coin. But that's not the point. The point is possibility. Because every rare coin that exists today was once just a normal coin in circulation. Before someone noticed it. Before someone looked a little closer. Before someone realized this one is different. So here's the question. What about your coin? That 2022 dime you have right now, what does it look like? Is it scratched and worn? Or is it bright and flawless? Does anything about it seem unusual? Anything at all? Because sometimes the difference between ordinary and valuable is just one small detail. And most people never take the time to look. But you're not most people. You're paying attention. And that alone puts you one step ahead. Because coin collecting isn't just about old treasures or rare metals. It's about awareness. It's about seeing what others overlook. It's about taking something simple and asking, is there more to this than I realize? So the next time you see a 2022 dime, don't just spend it without thinking. Take a second. Examine it. Look at the details. Because hidden in that small, modern coin could be something that hasn't been discovered yet. And maybe you'll be the one who finds it. The 2023 Roosevelt dime is one of the newest coins you can hold in your hand today. It hasn't been around for decades. It doesn't carry the same age as older coins. And because of that, most people assume it has no real value beyond 10 cents. But what if that assumption is wrong? Because when it comes to coin collecting, the newest coins are often the ones people understand the least. They're too fresh, too common, too easy to ignore. But history tells us something very important. Every rare coin was once brand new. Let's take a closer look at the 2023 version of the Roosevelt dime, a coin that may not seem special today, but could become something very different in the future. At first glance, everything looks exactly the same. On the front, you'll see the familiar face of Franklin D. Roosevelt. The design hasn't changed. The structure is the same. The feel, the size, the weight, all identical to previous years. And that's exactly why people overlook it. Because when something looks familiar, it doesn't feel important. But collectors, they see things differently. They're not just looking at what a coin is today. They're thinking about what it could become tomorrow. Let's start with the most important factor for a coin this new. Condition. With a 2023 dime, you're looking at a coin that hasn't had much time to circulate. That means many of them are still in excellent shape. Some are nearly perfect. Bright surfaces, sharp edges, clear detailed design. Coins like this are what collectors call mint state, meaning they haven't been worn down by everyday use. And here's the key idea. The best time to find a perfect coin is right now. Because as time passes, these coins will enter circulation. They'll get scratched, dropped, damaged, and slowly the number of perfect examples will start to decrease. So a flawless 2023 dime today could be much harder to find years from now. But condition isn't the only thing that matters. Because even with the most advanced minting technology in history, mistakes still happen. And when they do, they create opportunity. Let's talk about errors. Imagine finding a 2023 dime where the design isn't perfectly centered. An off-center strike. Part of the coin is blank while the rest shows the design. It's unusual. It's eye-catching. And it's rare. Or imagine a subtle double die effect where the design appears slightly duplicated. Maybe in the lettering. Maybe in the date. It's not obvious at first. But once you notice it, everything changes. There are also die cracks, thin lines caused by stress in the minting tools. Or weak strikes where some details didn't fully form. Each of these is a small imperfection. A tiny moment where the system didn't work perfectly. And that's exactly why collectors care. Because in a world where millions of coins are made to look identical, the ones that don't stand out. Now let's be honest. Most 2023 dimes are still worth exactly 10 cents. There's no instant jackpot. No guaranteed fortune. But that's not the point. The point is timing. Because right now, these coins are at the very beginning of their story. They haven't been fully explored. They haven't been completely searched. Collectors are still discovering what's out there. And that means one thing. There's still a chance. A chance to find something unusual. A chance to spot an error. A chance to hold onto a coin that might become harder to find in perfect condition. And that's what makes this exciting. Because you're not just looking at the past. You're looking at the future. So here's the question. What will happen to your 2023 dime? Will it be spent without a second thought? Lost in circulation? Forgotten like millions of others? Or will it be saved? Examined? Protected? Because sometimes the difference between an ordinary coin and a collectible one is simply the decision to keep it, to notice it, to give it a second look when everyone else walks past it. That's how collections begin. That's how discoveries are made. And that's how something small becomes something valuable. So the next time you see a 2023 dime, don't just treat it like loose change. Hold it for a second. Turn it over. Look closely. Because you're not just holding a coin. You're holding the beginning of a story. And maybe, just maybe, it's a story that hasn't been fully written. Before you spend your next dime, stop. Look closer. Because hidden in your pocket change could be coins with history, hidden details, and maybe even unexpected value. From 1973 to 2023, every coin tells a story. The only question is, will you notice?